So I want to tell you a little story about an old Chevy. Gratitude for me is an old Chevy. See, a few years ago, I found myself in a place and space that I never thought I would be in. I was homeless and I was unemployed. I was also grieving. My brother had died. I buried him, and 3 days later, my compassionate employer fired me. My mother was suffering through several chronic illnesses, which eventually did take her life. I was in deep grief. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't do really for myself for the first time in my life. And I found that there was nothing and no one out there for me. I was really struggling. And it was during that time that I found myself then sleeping in a rented car in a safe parking lot and just trying to get something going during the day that was going to help me to be able to get out of this position and somehow recreate my life. During that time, I decided that I was going to do three things. One of them came from a movie, an old movie called Broadcast News, and that was, they had the protagonist, before she would go on air as a news anchor, she would cry, just cry, pour it out, and I learned to do that, to just cry out all my emotions about what I was going through during the day, about the rejections and sometimes the insanity of being a person who had no mental illness, no addictions, just needed a job and a place to live for the first time in my life. So I would cry all my emotions out after such a chaotic day, and then I would do something that I called what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and then move on to gratitude. But before I could get to the gratitude, that second part was what was really important. But the gratitude, I definitely know you need to have in your life. I found that gratitude, after crying out all the emotions, I would get to the gratitude through Vegas, and I would be able to focus on what I already had and be grateful for that. I had my health. I had that rented car to sleep in. And I had the ability to hope that things would change in my life. So I began in this gratitude to get to the end of the tears. And then I would always end this gratitude with, and thank you for my free car. Now, people would laugh when I did tell a few people, yeah, I'm getting a free car. I'm like, what? So I would always be grateful. Thank you for my free car. I am so happy and grateful for my free car, and I look forward to riding in it. So before I could get there, I would do something. After I cried out the emotions, I would do my Vegas practice. Now, you know about Las Vegas. You know it can be wild, it can be crazy, there's a whole lot of things going on. Do you remember the movie The Hangover, where it got so wild that we woke up one morning and they had a tiger in the room? Well, yes. So all that excitement and things go on that maybe you don't want to share with people back home. So when you leave Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and you don't bother with it anymore. So this practice of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas is about a nerve we have in our body. It's called the vagus nerve. And all this outer chaos that causes all this stress and anxiety, and there you are, just guzzling down shock, and pain is just twerking to an out of control beat. And you're wondering, what is going on? Why is this happening and that happening? And I can't seem to get a grip on it. Well, you can use your vagus nerve. You can activate it and soothe it in order to make those changes. The vagus nerve is here in the back of your head. And there are ways that you can soothe it. One of them is that you can put a cold compress on your wrist, or you can put a cold compress on the back of your neck. You can do some deep breathing, or you can do some exercise. Take that 30-minute walk. I love 30-minute walks. I walk a 10K almost every morning. But here's what you can do that I did in that car in order to help myself. I hummed. Humming. When I was distraught about things growing up, my grandmother or my mother would gather me up in their arms, and I remember my mother in particular, she would hold me tight and rock me and put her head on top of my head, and she would hum. Something I knew, something I didn't, just hum. And that vibration activates the vagus nerve, and it soothes it, and it helps to bring peace and relaxation to your body. Your vagus nerve controls your breathing. Your vagus nerve controls your digestion. Your vagus nerve helps you to be able to stay calm in situations where it's probably best that you stay calm, because getting upset is not going to help you. So I would hum in that car after crying out those emotions, and I would get myself calm enough that I could begin to move into the gratitude. So think of it as the vagus nerve is that party weekend, and everything is happening. Terrible things are happening. Maybe things are just moving too fast. Things you don't understand. And you've got to calm your breathing. You've got to calm your mind. You've got to stop all the shock and the trauma that's going through your body and your brain. And the vagus nerve, by soothing it with humming, calms it down. So it's like, okay, you may have woken up with that tiger in the room, but now you've been able to have a good night's sleep. You've gotten up, you've had some breakfast, maybe some good eggs Benedict. I had that one morning before I did leave Las Vegas. And you get the valet to bring your car around, and you get in, and you start driving on Interstate 15. What happened in Vegas is staying there in Vegas. The trauma, the pain, the shock, the fear, it's no longer there. It's no longer ruling your world. And you can head out and leave Las Vegas, as Sheryl Crow sings. So that's what I would do. And then I would get to the gratitude. And because I was now calm and soothed, I said again, thank you for my free car. I had absolute confidence. I had no doubt. I wasn't asking like, could I maybe please have a free car? I had no vision for my life that included sleeping in a sub-zero sleeping bag on a car mattress in the back of a rented Nissan Versa hatchback. That just was not going to be the end of my life. The end of my life will be at 127, surrounded by my children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. I will die in my bed in peace. I will not die sleeping in a rented car. So I would do this, and I would just be confident that I was going to get it. Well, that confidence, that gratitude, having gratitude every day, that meant that I put my name on 4 affordable housing lists. They told me 2 years minimum before I would get to the top of the list. In 7 months, all 4 places called me and offered me an apartment. I took one. I moved in. Someone helped me to move in. Didn't cost me a thing. I was organizing things in the apartment after 3 days, and I get a ding on my phone and a phone message that says, "Would you like a free car?" I just typed back yes. I didn't look to see who it was from, what was going on. I just said yes. I had asked for a free car. So it turned out, yes, someone was giving their car away for free. Someone paid for the repairs that needed to happen on the car. And this day, I ride that car in gratitude. That car, payment-free car that starts up every single day and takes me to a stable job and then back home to the roof over my head. My life has transformed because of gratitude. I absolutely trusted that my life was going to improve, that my life was going to get better. I had to take some actions, but I did not let the chaos out there control me. I just left Vegas behind and decided to move forward. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Thank you.